One of my English teachers once asked the class what our favorite English words were. I didn't immediately have an answer to that, but while I thought about it, my teacher went ahead and told us his favorite word: serendipity. Serendipity is a word that I don't have in my native language, at least not originally, and that means fortuitous, unplanned discovery or event.
How serendipitous.
It's not just a lucky situation or a good thing that happens, but precisely a surprise, the unraveling of the unexpected, knocking at our door and bringing its gifts. A serendipitous event is something that changes you, marks you, and easily becomes a memory or a memento of a very enjoyable moment. It could even sometimes change someone's life. And if I'm talking about this, you'll know it's about to be important to what comes next. Because if there's a word I can use to describe what Blue Period is, it's serendipity. Blue Period was a serendipitous find at the end of 2020, a year full of unserendipitous things. I stumbled upon it on my recommended page for the manga app I used to read, and the cover art and synopsis immediately caught my eye. I saved it to my list, and right the next day I began to read, and I fell in love with it at first sight. It was like a fated encounter. It was like serendipity. Hello, my name is Gabe, your host for the Dream Machine channel, and today I want to talk about art, what defines it, what it can achieve, and why it matters. I also want to talk about the manga written and masterfully illustrated by Tsubasa Yamaguchi, Blue Period. Blue Period is a manga about a studious and charismatic delinquent who stumbles upon a passion and finds himself throwing away everything he had for granted to pursue it. In this chase, he encounters important friends that will not only follow him along the way, but also enrich his life in the same measure as he enriches theirs. With his immense hard work and a driven will to become a great artist, he has one shot at entering the art school of his dreams, the Tokyo University of Arts, also known as Gaidai. The premise of a diligent and book-smart guy or gal finding a passion in any form of art and pursuing it isn't new. However, the execution here is just so well done that it feels inevitably fresh. Yaguchi is a typical likable protagonist, but he is not a genius or super talented. He's just a normal dude who falls in love with the painting. His only real talent is how hard he works and how dedicated he is to becoming better than his current self. He has deep insecurities that are subtle at the start, but soon develop and grow as he has to face more challenging situations. Despite having almost everything a high school student could possibly want, he is still tied down to heavy burdens that he doesn't know better than to cling to. He's a guy who both works his hardest to get good grades, but also to be sociable and hang out with his friends. Due to the external pressure of being an exemplary student and a cool guy to be friends with, he finds himself chained down, unable to express his deeper thoughts or open up about his dreams and insecurities. He is destined to go to a prestigious college, get a high-grade job, and live the normal salaryman life that is so common in Japan. That is, until a serendipitous encounter happens. Her painting touches him so deeply that he eventually finds himself wanting to join the art club. And in drawing, he finds a language that forgoes words, a supreme form of communication where he can finally express what it's away inside him. He finds a fire that burns hotter than any other, full of emotion and drive. He finds a calling, something that gives his life sense and makes him unique. Expression, passion, meaning. Those are the three things that, for me at least, define art. Any and every art. Be it painting, digital drawing, music, film, video games, books, poetry, YouTube videos, cooking, design, architecture, penmanship, photography, anything at all. If you put expression, passion, and meaning into it, then by all means, you're an artist. Here's how Blue Period does in those three regards. Also, a quick disclaimer. For the love of God, I'm not trying to define art or create a determination for what can be considered art or not. These are not objective parameters. They're just my way of analyzing things. So don't wage war in the comments about this. It's just opinion-based stuff. You know what you get with my channel. Anyway, moving on. In a manga, differently from a book, the language that carries the most expression has no words at all. It doesn't require them. The art and paneling of a manga are the supreme expression of the mangaka, the main and sometimes even only tool through which the story is told. Good art in a manga isn't just a lot of details or a great character design or beautiful line work and shading. It has all of that, obviously, but those things alone don't carry the expression of the artist. No, really good art takes all of those elements and puts them in a cohesive structure, held together by the unique vision of the author. Composition, contrast, depth, perspective, all play into making panels that are meaningful in their own way, expressive, beautiful to look at, but also representative of the message the author wants to spread. And the best way to hammer that message home is with a very unique art style. In art, style is the accent per se of each individual artist, but in truth, it's more akin to a dialect. It can change much more than how the author is communicating something, going as far as to possibly be the cornerstone of what the author is saying, the centerpiece of the message. If art is a language by definition, then style is a language by execution. And I'll be damned if Blue Period is not full of style and character in each panel. Take for example the first few pages of the manga. First we see a gorgeous oil coloring of the protagonist's face, and then one of his hands holding a brush. We get a Van Gogh style spread of him in his room, and then a view of our setting, early morning Shibuya. You don't know yet, but this panel is a setup. Even without the speech bubbles and narration over, you can really feel that the author is emphasizing something here. Because he is. Shibuya in the early morning is a focal point of the narrative of this first chapter. To Yaguchi, it has this indescribable feeling over it, that he has no words nor confidence to express to his friends. You can see it has an almost frozen vibe to it, like time is stopped in its tracks and the silence reigns. Compared to full, overpopulated Shibuya, it is much more intimate, almost beautiful. That is his first work of art, the one he chooses to submit to his art teacher and his gateway into the arts. All of that is already visually there on the first pages, but you never notice until the story decides you should. There are many details like this throughout the entire manga, like the cover art for each volume that presents a character in their own mind space while they paint, or the little quirks each one of them has on their works. One of my favorite details about the entire manga is how the author displays the work of each member of the main cast, always highlighting their personalities and emotions behind their paintings. They call in real professional artists, some even big names of Gaidai themselves, and have them painting the works of the art students in the story, and I have to highlight some of my personal favorites here. Obviously, the one that caught my attention immediately was the artist responsible for the creation of Mori-senpai's F100 painting. It is the one that takes Yaguchi's breath away and turns him to art. It has a central standing, not only in the way it's displayed, but on its impact in the story. It was painted by Tomori Marimo. Next, we have this The Sun by Ozuka Chiharu. It is absolutely breathtaking and awe-inspiring. I am a sucker for realistic pencil drawings, and this one hits all the right spots for me. There is this cool piece by Ima Honsho full of vision and with a nice composition as well as great detail too. As Yaguchi himself said it is really cool art. There is this stunning collage by Aya Morita. It is insanely beautiful and I have to shout out its creator. And finally, but no less impressive, is the F100 by Yaguchi himself, created by Sando Shota. It is a centerpiece in Yaguchi's life, just like it is in the plot, and it deserves recognition for that. Of course, there are many more talented artists that help bring the level of expression in this manga up to a new level, different from anything I have ever seen before. The author did a great job in creating unique and catchy designs for the characters, designs that match their personality and personal journey, from the white-haired Gyaru protagonist, to the cute cross-dressing friend, to the quiet and unassuming genius, to the girl whose family and blood were molded by art, to the teachers who so deeply wish to awaken the passion for art in their students. This marking expression, those meaningful compositions, the numerous guest artists, and the moving dialogue, all of these things are elements that bring to focus one thing above all others, and that is passion. I don't think there can be a single artist that doesn't have passion. Art is in and of itself the supreme expression of passion. When you care about something so deeply, you feel like sharing it. And the best way to share or express something so powerful as passion is through art. Not necessarily painting or drawing, but any art. This is clearly what happened here. Blue Period oozes a deep devotion and understanding of the arts, and it is contagious to the max. The story about a guy that has everything, finding out that he only really needs one thing, and that this is his purpose, speaks deeply to me. It speaks to my personal experience in finding a craft I was passionate about outside of college, career, or work. It speaks to my deepest belief that if we treat everything as a form of art and try to do our very best with the things we're passionate about, the world would be a better place. I believe in vocation, and passion is a result of that. The little snippets of exposition about art, composition, techniques, misconceptions, and art theory are not only interesting to read, but also moving in a way. The care that was put into making this work accessible to any one person who decides to pick it up is visible, as is the wish the author has that it becomes a gateway to the reader finding their purpose and their passion as Yaguchi found his. This work inspired me very much in the same way any passionate person inspired those who witnessed them in their craft. I believe you can relate to me when I say this. Which of us has never come across someone so into their stuff and so caring about a subject that you couldn't help but care about that too? I know I have, many times. A contagious passion transmitted through a relatable character in a realistic struggle. This sums up Blue Period. Yatura Yaguchi is just like me and you. He has the wishes and hopes we have, faces the pressures we face, meets failure like us, gets praise like us. He has friends and rivals, gets support and rejection. He cries when frustrated and laughs when enjoy. He is above anything else human. And one of the things that certainly separate us humans from other animals is our ability to be passionate about stuff. It is something that surpasses any instinct, any other desire. And that is because humans search for meaning in their lives. Passion is a product of meaning. Art is a form of expression. It comes from a place of passion, and passion is a product of meaning. Creating something you're not passionate about diminishes its meaning. On the other hand, anything that receives enough care and attention will be made meaningful, and others will notice it. Blue Period is all about that. Getting good grades at school doesn't mean anything. You're not putting in effort because you're passionate about a school report full of high grades. Likewise, getting into a high-paying job is also meaningless. Money is just a thing. It is necessary, yes, and very useful, but it doesn't give you meaning. Being popular is also meaningless. Life is ephemeral and short. What deeper purpose does being recognized by others immediately around you have? I would rather live only ever being known by my family and a few friends, doing what makes my life meaningful, than to be at the top of the world, raking in likes and living in a big, empty house with an empty life, or being followed by clout seekers that you don't even know if they like you or just want to be where you are. Yaguchi had all of those things. He had good grades, a great career path ahead of him, was popular and had a great group of friends. But his life was utterly meaningless. He lived behind a mask, always wearing the same fake expression. He was not a genius by any means, but he was hardworking, and yet all that hard work meant nothing if he couldn't even express that feeling he had when seeing the Shibuya crossing early in the morning. When he found a way to express that feeling, when he understood that there were more important things in life than good grades, having fun, and making money, his life got meaning. Such is a purpose for us, purpose-seeking creatures. Such is passion for us, passionate creatures. It is fuel to a flame that burns in our hearts and shines in the deep darkness of a meaningless world. Finding a meaning in life, expressing that meaning in art, being passionate about what this or that means to you, those things are what really matter. Those are the things that fill the world with emotion, beauty, love, joy. Without that, we are merely slightly intelligent slabs of meat waiting our time to rot in a hole 6 feet below, where we return to the ash we came from. Our souls ache for a meaningful life. Our hearts burn for a passionate dream. The loss of meaning and vocation is one of the greatest losses of the 21st century. In our schools, hundreds upon hundreds of kids with unique special talents and vocations are squashed under the weight of a uniform system made to form workforce slaves and mindless 9-to-5 zombies. In our homes, parents put a pressure that they themselves wouldn't take over the heads of an army of immature, emotionally unstable teenagers. Universities all around the world made people who didn't even get their first real job yet fall in debt for a degree that will be useless or underutilized for the rest of their lives, yet still are necessary to get a job. How many musicians, writers, painters, poets, sculptors, dancers, athletes, programmers didn't get their lives ruined because of a failed education system amidst a socially inept generation under the rule of morally bankrupt old dudes in expensive suits? What meaning do the 14 years of school plus 4 to 5 years of college add to the lives of those that are stuck with them? We live in a world where a boy who tries to express himself is greeted with a fake smile and a "that's great, but now go back to your room and finish your homework." A world where parents try to enforce greatness into their children with hours and hours of weekly activities, from classical music lessons to insane amounts of study and unrealistic expectations. We need more than ever to find meaning in our lives. Art, really meaningful art, is a fruit of passion. There cannot be one without the other. So why would you let go of what you're passionate about to pursue things like money, fame, pride, status? If you have the opportunity to do what you love, you are privileged. So go for it. Take up that old hobby of yours that you set aside because you're not good enough. Pick up drawing again, or maybe learn to play an instrument. Find something that moves your heart, something that fires you up. Stop giving yourself excuses or putting off doing things you want to do. Because if you decide to live your entire life without passion, you will live a miserable, meaningless life. Don't let your ideas be just ideas. Don't shrug your aspirations away as just big dreams and nothing else. Don't let your spirit be crushed by the job hunt grinder. You are bigger than this. You should do bigger things. You have to find your meaning. Let Yaguchi's story serve as an inspiration to you as it did to me. Find your passion in life as I found mine. Express that passion in a meaningful way. You will see then that life might just be much more wonderful than you ever dreamed of. There's this feeling, this unique experience some of us get a few times in our lives. That is the feeling of seeing a classic being born right in front of you. I can say I felt this with the first 6 volumes of Blue Period. It has absolutely all the power to become a classic. It has the pure, fiery passion and artistic spirit to enchant, touch, move, and even inspire millions. It deserves to get the chance to do so. I believe in that wholeheartedly. If you haven't ever heard of this, give it a go, I insist. Pick it up right now wherever you can and read it. But beware, it might touch you really close to your heart. It certainly touched me. It was the serendipitous fortune of my 2020 holidays. And in 2021, I hope you can find your serendipity too. Here's to a meaningful year. This has been Gabe, your host for the Dream Machine channel. Thanks for watching.